Okay, Kate, I'll just get set up. Hello, everyone. Hi, juniors and families. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch our Defining and Exploring College Differences presentation. This is one of my favorite Pews events to lead because during conversations with our students, we have found that many of them don't really understand the differences between a liberal arts college or a research institution. They're not familiar with specialized colleges like that focus on STEM or art and design, or they don't know that studying at an international college for all 4 years is possible. As of a result, our program today will feature admissions reps from different types of colleges where students and families will learn about each college and the type of school that the college represents. We have a few goals for today. First, we really want to emphasize the importance of each student taking the time to reflect, to understand what they want out of their college experience. Second, we will introduce different types of colleges to help students understand their similarities and their differences. And finally, with this new understanding, students can begin connecting their values to specific types of colleges. And here's our agenda for today. So first you'll hear from Tony, myself. Tony's our Director of College Counseling, where we'll talk about how you can understand your values, and we'll also define our college types. Our colleague Kate Kaushal is here today too. She's just running the tech for our program, which we greatly appreciate it. And then we'll begin, and then we'll turn it over to our amazing panel of admissions reps who are taking time away from reading college applications to share their perspective with us. So you'll hear from colleges, a liberal arts college, from St. Olaf, who's representing a liberal arts college, from Marquette, who's representing a medium-sized college, Michigan State, a large public university, Colorado School of Mines, which is a STEM-focused institution, University College Dublin, which is an international school, and finally, a Savannah College Art and Design, representing a college that can focus on either art, music, or media. We'll end the presentation today with sending a few questions to our reps, and then we'll leave you with a few reminders of things to be considered within the next few weeks. And now I'll turn it over to Tony.
Thank you, Kelly. Yeah, we're excited about this program. It's a fun one. I wanted to touch on the foundation of our college planning program, and that's our values-based process, understanding your values. We have a quote on our wall here in the College Resource Center from Mary Oliver. Some of you may have heard it. It's pretty simple, but it's pretty poignant, and I feel like it speaks to our mission. What is it that you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? As Kelly mentioned, it's often a challenge for some of our young learners to figure out what it is they plan to do with their one wild and precious life. So we start with values. As a values-based institution, we think it's a natural fit to start here with our college search. Some questions your students should be asking themselves as they begin this process. Where do I shine? Where do I show up? And where do I learn best? What situations am I most engaged in? Am I most attracted to from an education and learning standpoint? What does that learning environment look like for me? Some honest answers there. Being honest about what support your student needs, either social, emotionally, academically, or otherwise. Just being very fair with themselves and understanding what they need. What about classroom experiences? Is a dynamic relationship-driven classroom experience, does that work for your student, or do they prefer to sort of be anonymous in the back, right? Can they learn more independently? What does that look like? What areas do I want to explore academically? You may not have all the answers today, but where do you shine? What courses has your student taken that's really gotten them excited? What have they come home from school that day and been really excited to share with you? What are those points of pride academically for your student? Thinking about community. What do you value about community and the space and the people that surround you? There's a reason your child chose DePaul Prep. I wonder if there's some value-based search in that. What does that look like? Why did they make that choice? What sort of space and environment are they looking for? And what sort of people do I attach myself to? What does my friend group look like? Um, the most important people in my life, what qualities do they have? Do I want to find that in my next step in the process? So these are just some questions, some values-based questions your student can be asking. So we're going to give you a quick preview of our highlighted styles of schools today. We're going to start with a liberal arts college. I'm a proud product of a liberal arts school. We're talking about well-rounded education, holistic on purpose. Many liberal arts schools will take different sizes and shapes, but oftentimes they'll represent the best of humanities, sciences, social sciences, kind of crossing over different barriers. These are critical thinkers. They love to solve problems. They're definitely collaborative students that find their way to these type of schools, and they're great communicators. Some of the benefits, as you'll find, there's flexibility in the curriculum. Tend to be smaller class sizes, right? We're talking about more tight-knit community. And generally speaking, liberal arts colleges focus their teaching on the undergraduate student. We'll also feature a medium-sized university today. These are students that really do value some of the personalized support of what a smaller institution can bring to the table, but also offer the resources of what a larger campus community can bring to their college experience. We find that actually many of our students here at DePaul, I'd consider us kind of a medium-sized high school, definitely do see similarities in medium-sized universities. They can see the benefits of both sides of the conversation, and they tend to be very attracted to schools kind of in this category. Still offering tight-knit community experiences, but oftentimes will offer maybe larger athletic atmosphere, which is kind of a bonus in a school that's not as large a university as some. Certainly offering research and honors opportunities. It is an opportunity, although the school might be a little bit larger in size, to still get to know and be known on campus, to still have relationships with your professors. And then large public university. We're all aware of many of these schools. They're often the schools that have the longest lines at the college fairs, right? But they are dedicated to education and producing knowledge. Oftentimes, our state flagship schools are one of the best representatives of that region or that state. These schools are going to offer a pretty wide breadth of opportunities, plenty of undergraduate majors across the board, but also graduate, postgraduate, doctoral opportunities at times. So different schools, sometimes also different colleges within the same university. Typically, a larger dossier of majors are offered at large universities, more course selection. There tends to be a high focus on research, both with students and professors at the university level. Not all the time, but often. Typically larger class spaces. So students will need to learn to navigate that in their first year. And then generally speaking, our large public universities take up more space, kind of geographically. They also tend to attract a pretty diverse student body. So some benefits there of the large public.
Thanks, Tony. So I'm now going to take some time to talk about technological research universities. Many of the students who are at these colleges focus on engineering or science or math or business. They while a lot of these schools might not have brand recognition amongst students or families, amongst employers, they're often really highly regarded. They offer both undergraduate and graduate degrees, and they also really do prepare their students for the future. They're quick to adapt, which means they're sometimes the first colleges to add new majors, to add new technology. Their faculty members are often active in industry. So what that means is that they can bring in outside partners to work on projects, a lot of hands-on learning. And there's also a very strong research culture in these institutions. There are only 16, I think, technology-based research institutions like MIT, Michigan Tech, and Georgia Tech, to name a few. We also wanted to talk to you today about international colleges, where students have the opportunity to pursue their undergraduate degree in a different country. One of the things about if you're interested in an international college, it really is important to do your research, because different countries often have different specialties or different educational systems. There are a lot of cool benefits to pursuing your undergraduate degree abroad. First of all, you can obtain a global perspective, being located in a different part of the world. Immerse yourself in a new culture, learn a new language, and really be surrounded by people from who are very different than you. I think studying in an international institution too also will give you a sense of independence, being so far away at home and learning to navigate a whole new space. Oftentimes there is a different admissions process for each college, but it's typically pretty straightforward, looking closely at grades and course selection and potentially test scores. And finally, we want to focus on colleges that allow students to really have a specialized focus in areas like art or music, or media or design, that really are focused on helping students prepare for creative careers. Typically, they offer in-depth course offerings in particular areas that will really allow students to dive deep into their passions and their interests, opportunities for hands-on learning, and really having professors who are also industry experts. I think there's something to be said about being in a community of students who also share a similar passion, opportunities to showcase work. And sometimes with these schools, in order that an audition or portfolio is part of the admissions process when you're applying. Okay, that's enough from Tony and me for a little bit, but I want to introduce you to our amazing panel that we're featuring here today. First up will be Roy Katie Kimball, who's the Assistant Dean of Admissions from St. Olaf College in Minnesota. Next, we'll feature Rosa Glembicki, who's the Assistant Director of Regional Recruitment for Marquette University in Milwaukee. Then we'll hear from Sylvia Hernandez, who's Manager of Illinois Recruitment at Michigan State in Lansing. Then we'll turn it over to, I believe it is Sam Stakel, an admissions counselor for Colorado School of Mines in Golden, Colorado. He'll be followed by Bridie Troy, who's the North American Global Center representative for University College Dublin. And finally, we'll end with Lily Zenger, who's the Assistant Director of Admissions at the Savannah College of Art and Design. So with that being said, we'll turn it over to Roy. Thanks, Roy.
Thank you so much, Kelly. I will share my screen here for a second. So sorry, I have to allow Zoom to share my screen. There we go. New work computer and all. It says that I need to quit and reopen Zoom. So let me just not do that. Sorry about this, everybody. Let me see if I can share a specific screen here. My apologies. Hello, everyone. My name is Roy Katie Kimball. I'm an Assistant Dean of Admissions at St. Olaf College. I'm really excited and I feel very grateful to be able to present a little to you about liberal arts colleges today. And I know that Tony said a little bit about liberal arts colleges. I myself am a graduate of Carleton College, which is a selective liberal arts college. I also have worked at Columbia University in the past, which is kind of for undergraduates, a liberal arts college within a larger university. But just to begin, diving a little bit deeper into the liberal arts experience and what makes it unique. Often the liberal arts experience is residential. You'll live on campus for most of the experience. A lot of college campuses for liberal arts are smaller, more tight campuses. You can walk across most of them very quickly. And this leads to better outcomes for students being engaged in clubs and activities and knowing their staff and faculty very well. Some colleges do have a residential requirement, so that's something to look out for. I would also say that a lot of these liberal arts colleges focus on undergraduate teaching and learning. You'll find that professors in these areas are specifically at these institutions for the chance to teach their field of expertise. So if you're looking for really close mentor-mentee type relationships, that would be a great way to find that, is looking at a liberal arts college. And kind of connected to the general size of a liberal arts college, many liberal arts institutions have really intensive academic, career, and life counseling and advising. The way that I describe it is we are collaborators rather than competitors. So whatever your life path is, you'll likely be able to find a staff member who's an expert in that specific area and will know you not only for the work that you do in class, but all of the things that make you who you are and who you want to be after the college experience. To tell you the generals about St. Olaf, we're a little bit bigger when it comes to the liberal arts size. We have 3,000 students, and this allows for a little bit more when it comes to the number of academic programs, study abroad programs, and pre-professional programs that we offer. We're very global in scope. We draw students from over 100 different countries and all 50 states. So another aspect that I think is true of all liberal arts institutions is a focus on not only bringing your full self to the college, but also learning from others who have different life experiences, beliefs, and goals than you do. So that is definitely a huge focus of what we do. Not all liberal arts colleges meet full financial need, but St. Olaf does. And this means that whether your family makes $20,000 per year or $200,000 per year, there will be grants, scholarships, and merit aid that's available for you to make it an affordable experience. So if I could put a plug out for every liberal arts college, when you see the sticker price on a liberal arts school's website, it's very rare that that will be the ultimate price that you end up paying. I always use myself as an example. I went to a school that had a $70,000 yearly price tag, and I paid about $5,000 per year to attend my institution. Again, as Tony said, liberal arts schools and St. Olaf as well have small class sizes. Students are bringing their own opinions and expertise into class discussions. And that's true for a calculus class just as much as it is for a history class. And with those 3,000 students, we do have all of those classic science, humanities, social sciences, fine arts classes. But some of the bigger liberal arts schools also offer many pre-professional programs. At St. Olaf, some highlights would be nursing, social work, business management, pre-law, engineering, things like that. I think kinesiology and athletic training is getting very popular as well. Some highlights. Over the past 15 years, St. Olaf has been ranked either number 1 or number 2 for the percentage of undergraduate students who study abroad. And this leads to more resources coming in from donors to allow for students from across the socioeconomic spectrum to study abroad. So if your goal is to go to Florence or Auckland, New Zealand, or Vienna in Austria, Argentina, we have over 43 countries that we go to each year. We also never want students to have unpaid internships. So St. Olaf offers almost $1 million per summer for groceries, living expenses, and daily, happenings for students, whether they're in Chicago, Minneapolis, Paris, Miami, anywhere around the world. So St. Olaf is a Lutheran school as well by tradition. It's not required that students are religious in any way, but one of the great things that comes from that tradition is our focus on vocation. So we're not only worried about helping you find a job that gets you a lot of money, but also thinking about what gives you meaning and how do you give meaning to other people through what you decide to do over the course of your career. I would say this is true for many liberal arts colleges. Med school acceptance is very high, and this is partially because of the intensive advising and counseling that you get over your 4-year experience. And then St. Olaf specifically is accredited by all of the major national associations for the fine arts. So even if you don't major in those areas, you have the opportunity to engage in the fine arts. So we have a lot of pre-med students that are theater interested. We have history students that travel internationally with the St. Olaf Choir. So I'm excited to work with any student who has some sort of creative outlet that they're passionate about. Thinking about a liberal arts student and the ones that we're looking for here, liberal arts students love to challenge themselves. So thinking ahead to your senior year or the second half of your junior year as well, we would really like to see students that are challenging themselves and not just taking a course in order to get a perfect grade. We also think that students do better when they want to be part of a close-knit community and also learn from people who are different than themselves. As I said, it's a very collaborative atmosphere, so students will show up for each other, and that means the football team will go to the art gallery opening, the choir will go to the basketball championship game. So you can look forward to that at St. Olaf and at many other small, tight-knit liberal arts colleges. Finally, I think outcomes for students are really important. Tony briefly touched on this, but really liberal arts students are prepared not only for their career of choice, but for whatever changes come up over the course of the next 30 to 50 years. So we will put out students who are great at presenting, writing papers, communicating with people who are different than themselves. And this is applicable to any different career that you end up applying yourself with. A few really quick things. Demonstrated interest is very important at St. Olaf. So if you're interested in St. Olaf or any other liberal arts college, interviews and college fairs are a great way to showcase that interest to the school. We would love to see students challenging themselves. If you're able to do so, taking honors, AP, or the IB diploma program at DePaul would be a great way to showcase your curiosity. We look at you as a whole person, so even if you don't fit a specific GPA requirement, there's probably 17 other things that make you a great fit for the community. So I want you to not be too stressed about being perfect all the time. We want to make sure that you have a balanced life while you're at St. Olaf as well. We have a lot of levers that we can pull for financial aid. As I said, we want to make it affordable for any student, regardless of their financial background. And then for St. Olaf specifically, I would say that the college essay is very important. Whether you're a math major or a history major, you will do a fair amount of writing during your time at St. Olaf and many other liberal arts schools. So that is something to be prepared for as well. And I want to thank you so much for your time. I will now be passing things over to Rosa at Marquette University, but thank you so much and have a great rest of your semester.
All right. Hi, everyone. As they're making the transition as far as slides, I'll go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Rosa Glombicki, as was mentioned, and I am our Assistant Director of Regional Recruitment for Marquette University. That's just a fancy way of saying that I actually live locally here in the Chicagoland area. I'm coming to you today from my home office here in Elmwood Park, Illinois, and I get to work with students from around the Chicagoland area. I'm actually not the counselor who works with students from DePaul Prep. You'll be working with Betty, who is equally as amazing, but today is actually Betty's birthday, and so they're off enjoying some celebrations. But I'm here and happy to represent Marquette and share a little bit more with you about Marquette specifically, and then also about medium institutions. It's going to be, I think, interesting for Marquette to be sandwiched between St. Olaf and Michigan State, because I do think that medium-sized schools, we are really such a good fit for a lot of students who want a lot of those big school characteristics, but then still small school perks. And so I'm excited to share a little bit more about Marquette today. If you could go to the next slide. So first and foremost, I want to chat about our students. Again, not too big, not too small. So for us, we have about 8,400 undergraduate students. We have about 3,000 graduate students. Now, medium size can really be a pretty big range. So I was on a panel earlier this week with Drake, which is in Des Moines, Iowa, and they have roughly about 3,000 or so undergraduate students, but they're still considered, because they also have some graduate population, to be in that medium size range, right? And then some schools maybe are in the 15,000 or so, and they're also kind of medium range. So we're kind of in the middle of that medium range by having roughly about 11,000 or so total students at Marquette. So our students come from all over the United States. We have every state represented on our campus. And we also have about 70 different countries represented by our student population. So I do think, like, just in general, maybe our name recognition, some of our programs, which I'll dive into in just a second, really attract students from all over. And so you're really having a lot of geographic diversity represented by our student population on campus. Something else that I think is just helpful to know about our students is that they are very actively involved. We'll talk about activities in a little bit as well. But I think that while our students could kind of come from a lot of different backgrounds from a geographic standpoint, we do have a lot of students that represent different cultures, different ethnicities, different racial backgrounds as well on our campus. They all kind of have this common thread of they're very energetic, they're very involved, they're very passionate, they're very excited about whatever it is that they're doing. And I think a lot of that centers around our mission as a Catholic Jesuit university. A lot of times you're going to find that maybe a medium-sized school has this, like, either religious affiliation like us, we're a Catholic Jesuit school, or they just have this like central theme that really helps to centralize almost every decision that is made by the university, very mission oriented, I think is the best way to put it. So for us as a Jesuit university, while you certainly don't have to be Catholic to come to Marquette, our students really identify around this theme of cura personalis, or care for the whole person. So when you're on our campus, it sounds kind of silly, but students hold doors open for each other. They say, "Hi, how are you doing?" They look each other in the eye. It's a tight-knit enough community that when you walk from one class to another, or from your residence hall to your class, you're going to see somebody that you know, probably a handful of people that you know, but it's also large enough where you're not going to know every single person, right? But this centralized theme of this care for the whole person, that's something that our students really centralize around, and a lot of our academics are focused around that as well. So that's a little bit about our students. Moving right along to our academics, at Marquette, we're what's called a direct admit university. And this is pretty common, maybe for more of a medium-sized school. We have 7 undergraduate colleges. And so students are actually applying to be admitted directly into one of our 7 schools. So rather than applying to Marquette generally, students apply directly, and then they're able to start taking classes within that major right away freshman year. So direct admit is really neat because you don't have to have that pressure your first year or so of, oh man, I have to make sure that I really get this certain grade, or I meet this requirement because I need to get one of the 90 spots available in the nursing program. No, you already know as a senior in high school that you have admission to our really selective nursing program, right? So direct admit just kind of takes away some of that pressure, allows you to not have to compete with your classmate, and rather just really focus in on your academics. And it's a way for you to know right away, do I really like this, or do I think I want to switch to something different? The average college student changes their major about 3 times. So being direct admit and getting a taste for your major instantly, that's a really cool perk. In addition to our undergraduate programs, we also offer our own graduate school. So we have a lot of accelerated degree programs for students who want to also earn their master's level degree in addition to their bachelor's in a shortened amount of time. We have our own school of dentistry, the only school of dentistry in the state of Wisconsin, and we also have our own law school. So for students who are forward thinking about a pre-professional program, your ability to be able to achieve that, to get a doctor of physical therapy, a master's in athletic training, to get your law degree, etc., that's a really cool perk of that medium-sized school, where you're kind of able to focus in and get whatever terminal degree it is that you want. You could do that at our institution, which is really neat. Moving right along. I think our location is something that sets us apart. Not all medium-sized schools are located in urban locations, but a lot of your Jesuit medium-sized schools are going to be located in urban environments. That's a very specific thing that we do. Our Jesuit identity is all about serving. It's all about how can we be the difference. And so a really easy way to do that is when we're centralized in more of that urban environment. But our urban environment, if you want to go to the next slide, really lends itself to us being able to utilize the city for a lot of different things. So we are #1 in the state of Wisconsin as far as job placement. We're #6 in the country as far as job placement is concerned. And so that is something we really pride ourselves on. And I think our location really is an extension of your academic experience. So a ton of opportunities for internships, for networking. Our alumni network is over 125,000. So you have people who are working professionally in whatever field it is that you're hoping to go into. So being able to connect with those alumni and get those meaningful experiences before the time that you graduate, that will lend itself to you being able to get that job after graduating, to get into the graduate school of your choice after leaving Marquette's doors, right? But Milwaukee is also able to be a really cool extension of your campus life and your social life. So if you want to go to the next slide, I'll kind of zero in. Our campus itself is now highlighted, but the previous slide, you got to see some of the things around Milwaukee that are, really within reasonable walking distance for our students. But our campus is very close knit. It's very tight knit. So it might look kind of large from this bird's eye view here, but campus itself, you can, very similar to a liberal arts school, oftentimes it is kind of smaller. Our campus, you can walk from one end to another in only about 10 minutes. The first 2 years, students are required to live on campus. You start building that community right away freshman year. And again, it's only about a 10-minute walk to get to any of your classes, any of your labs, any of your, gross anatomy lab, your simulation labs, your business building, whatever it might be. So that's a really great perk of our campus environment. Next slide. For us, we do have a lot of cool new buildings on campus. So again, I think our alumni network, they are really proud of Marquette. And so they've given back a lot to really expand our spaces. So definitely come up to visit us. We'd love to have you. The next slide, I think, is all about our campus activities. So like I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of ways that our students are able to get involved. So our campus is very highly motivated, very energetic, very involved. There's over 325 different clubs and organizations. And similar to a smaller school, even if you're not majoring in that certain thing, you can still take an active role. So if you want to be a business major or a nursing major, but you want to be the lead in the musical, you're going to be able to audition to do that. If you are a student who's majoring in philosophy, but you want to be in all of the intramural sports that are offered at Marquette, you're going to be able to do that as well. So there's a lot of like cross-disciplinary things that you can do at Marquette, and a lot of ways that you can really tap into all those different facets of who you are as an individual and kind of go from there. The next slide highlights our athletics. So again, we do have really big athletic environment. So if you want to go and have kind of that, big athletic environment, we were part of the Big East Conference last year. We were Big East champs. You're going to have 18,000 people at a game for one of our men's basketball games. That's a really cool thing and kind of feels like that much larger school environment as well. Now, the next slide talks ever so briefly about our timeline. So for us, we also are a holistic review. So we really are doing that care for the whole person like I was talking about. That is really showcased in our application review as well. So we're looking at you as a whole person, looking at all those different elements of what makes you tick in order to figure out, could you be a strong fit at Marquette as well? And when students are admitted, whether through early action or a regular decision, you're going to be considered for merit scholarships. So this is also a way we kind of identify with that smaller school. Our medium-size private school characteristics allow us to offer a lot of merit-based scholarships. So 99% of our students who are admitted to Marquette receive a merit-based scholarship. So again, that sticker price, that's something that no student is paying to come to Marquette. Instead, you're going to have a certain amount taken off of your tuition as well. That's the end of my time. So I'm going to go ahead and put this slide up about staying connected. I'm going to turn it over to Michigan State, but let me know if you have any questions later on about Marquette.
Thanks, Rosa. Hey, everyone. As we're, again, kind of transitioning over slides, I will do the same as Rosa and introduce myself. My name is Sylvia Hernandez. I am the manager of Illinois recruitment for Michigan State University. I am also based here in the city and just live a few minutes away from DePaul College Prep. So very familiar with your school and your area. And today I'm kind of representing large public institutions. So I will also say that while I currently work for Michigan State University, I've also worked for the University of Arizona and the University of Oregon. So definitely well-versed in large public schools. And you're going to start to hear common themes through many of these presentations about some of the opportunities. But when you look at our first slide coming up here, it's going to talk a little bit about kind of our size and just where we're located. And so on the next slide, you'll see a few pictures of East Lansing. We are located in East Lansing, Michigan, which is only about a 3.5 to 4 hour drive from here. So I think one thing you want to think about as you look at schools is the distance you'd like to be from home. Do you want to be a drive away? Do you want to be a train ride away, a flight away? That's part of the decision as you look at these different colleges and universities. So for us, we're going to be a large 4-year school that's close by. If you want to do something a little bit different, than some of your peers, we may be a good choice for you. But we are definitely a very big institution. And I actually talk about the campus size, not only when we talk about our population, but also just in general, the size of our campus itself. You'll see here that it says we own over 5,200 acres. Now, as far as myself, I live in the city. A lot of times when people say, yeah, we have 5,200 acres, I'm like, I have no idea what that means. But for our campus, what that means is only half of that, about 2,500 acres, is where students spend the majority of their time. And from one end to the other, it is a little over 2 miles. So it can take you about 40 minutes to walk from one end of campus to the other. But that also means that we have 2 18-hole golf courses. We have a river that runs through campus. We have botanical gardens. We have full working farms. We have our own dairy and process our own dairy. We have an emergency animal clinic on campus, large animal hospital, small animal hospital, a bug house, a planetarium. You name it, we have it on campus. We even have 4 Starbucks just on campus. So lots of great opportunities when it's a big place. We also, on the next slide, you're going to see information about the community itself. And so we are a big place when we talk about population. We have just over 50,000 students. And right now, Michigan State is about the 8th largest school in the country for population. So this is definitely a place where you are going to get to know a little bit of everybody at your institution. You'll see that we have students from over 130 different countries. We have students from all 50 states, all backgrounds. I tell students all the time, at a place like Michigan State, you will meet someone like you, someone the complete opposite of you, and everywhere in between. So it is a very diverse campus community. Michigan State is a predominantly white institution, or a PWI, but we also have about 30% of our students coming from underrepresented populations. And that may or may not be something that you want to look into, but it's definitely a good question to ask if that is an important factor for you. A lot of predominantly white institutions, you're kind of lucky if the percentage of students of color is in those double digits. So for 30% students of color, MSU is a very diverse campus community. On the next slide, you're going to see a little bit more information about our academics. And I think a great thing about large schools, and it was kind of alluded to this in the beginning of the presentation, is that you have so many options, so many things to explore. As you can see here, we do have 400 areas of study. We offer over 200 undergraduate majors. We also have graduate level programs. We have doctoral level programs. We have 2 medical schools on campus, an MD and a DO program. We have a law school. We have a veterinary school. So if you are looking for some of those professional schools, we do offer them as well. But the great thing for MSU is that you really get to explore these different areas. And so we do not admit based on major. If you know what you want to do, that's great. You can start taking those classes. But if you're unsure, or maybe you're just kind of maybe gleaning back and forth between a couple different areas, you have time to take introductory level classes, maybe work with our Career Services Network and our Counseling and Career Development Center to really figure out what it is that you'd like to do, what's important to you in a career, and things like that. So a lot of option when it comes to the classes that you take, the majors that you choose, maybe even adding on a minor. That academic experience is really everything that you'd like it to be, depending on your interests. We also make it very easy at Michigan State for you to collaborate with other colleges. So you can do double majors. Again, you can add on minors, and you don't have to necessarily stay within that same college. On the next slide, you're going to see some information about some of our different pieces that you can add on to your academic major. So your classroom experience is really just one part of your academic experience at a college or university. And you heard a little bit about this from the other representatives. But I think some things that really make students stand out are the opportunities outside of the classroom, because part of your college experience is everybody's going to go to class. But what are you going to do outside of that classroom experience? And so MSU is very strong with entrepreneurship opportunities. We actually have the #1 entrepreneurship and innovation program in the country. It's kind of a minor that students can add on to any major at Michigan State. You'll see here there are a lot of startup resources and support for our undergraduate students. We even had some students featured on Shark Tank a few years ago. We also offer plentiful opportunities for undergraduate research, and the key word there for us is undergraduate. Yes, we have a lot of graduate level research going on, but we do want our undergraduates to have the opportunity to get involved in research. So whether you're working alongside faculty members, with your peers, on your own, there are definitely research opportunities right on campus as well as off campus for our students. Our high achieving students also receive potentially an opportunity to get paid to do research as early as their freshman year. And then we also offer a wide variety of education abroad programs. And we actually say education abroad and not just study abroad at Michigan State, because there are multiple things you can do abroad. You can go ahead and study, you can take classes at another institution, but you can also do research, you can do a co-op, an internship, volunteer experiences, and all of those can come back as credit at Michigan State. We offer over 300 programs. We go to every single continent, even Antarctica, for our education abroad programs. And we do also offer our students from out of state a scholarship towards study abroad if you attend MSU. So everybody gets a study abroad scholarship if they choose to come to Michigan State. But I think these pieces are very important, again, to add on to your academic experience. Now, on the next slide, you're going to see some information about the social experience. And kind of as Rosa alluded to, for mid-sized schools, the same is definitely said for large institutions. Most large public institutions are going to be Division I sports. They may be part of a specific conference. For Michigan State, we're part of the Big Ten Conference. Our games are on TV. We have ESPN Game Day come to campus at times. But there's so much to get involved with, not just the athletics and the sports side of things, but we also offer over 1,000 different clubs and organizations. There is definitely something for everyone. What I tell my students is, at a place like Michigan State, you can be as bored as you want to be on any given day, or you can be as busy as you want to on any given day. So academic clubs and professional organizations are part of that 1,000. We also have religious groups, service groups, cultural interest groups, Greek life, performing arts, sports clubs, you name it, we have it on campus. I think our most popular, newest club right now is our new K-pop club. So lots of great things for pretty much everyone. But we're also a very cultural place. So again, being such a large institution, you can see here we have over 12 miles of bike paths. We have over 20,000 bicycle parking spaces. We also have a bike shop on campus where you can rent bikes, you can buy bikes, you can take your bike to get fixed. As far as cultural opportunities, we have our own art museum on campus. We host over 150 concerts each year, and we also have the largest theater in the greater Lansing area. So all the Broadway shows come right to campus. A great part-time job if you're interested in theater or music would be to work at that center where you can get paid and also watch all of the shows that are being hosted. We also have 3 fitness and recreation centers on campus, and we have a lot of outdoor spaces. Our campus is, again, so large that it is a natural arboretum. And so it's definitely great for students as far as in the fall and in the spring and summer when the weather's kind of nice. To go outside and maybe play a pickup game of basketball, or we have sand volleyball courts at the residence halls. Maybe you want to go for a bike ride or hang out down by the river. There are a lot of great opportunities to really enjoy that outdoor space. So lots of great things on the social side. And when we talk about academics and social experience at a large public institution, you can really make your experience anything and everything you want it to be. So we're really looking for students who are well-rounded in high school, who want to continue to be well-rounded and take advantage of a little bit of everything. So we want you to jump in, get your feet wet when you get there, and really get involved in everything that that institution has to offer. Next slide. On the next slide, you're going to see just some specific information about Michigan State as far as application. And so I'm not going to talk too much about these deadlines because you can see them there. But I think the big thing for me is as you really look at your colleges and universities, make sure you ask them how important those deadlines are. When is it best to apply? Does the school offer early action or early decision? Is it regular admission, rolling admission? When do you have the best opportunity to get scholarships? Do they have a separate deadline for that? Especially at your top choice schools, you want to make sure that you're really well prepared to apply for your schools when you need to. I think a lot of schools do have kind of that decision deadline of November 1, but some schools are different. So definitely ask about application dates and deadlines as you look at different schools. And especially when we talk about scholarships and just speaking in general for large public institutions, if you're looking at public institutions in state, the nice thing is that you already get a discount for being an Illinois resident. So if you were looking at, let's say, a U of I, you're going to already pay an in-state cost for tuition. Now, if you're looking at a school like Michigan State, because we are out of state, our cost is higher because we serve Michigan students or we get tax money from the state of Michigan to help pay for some of our in-state costs. And that's not the same, again, when you're looking at out-of-state schools. So definitely consider that when you're looking at large public schools or even just any size public school. If you are an in-state or out-of-state student, that may make a difference. And it also may make a difference in scholarships. So for Michigan State, we actually offer more scholarships to our out-of-state families because the cost is higher than we do to our in-state families. So just kind of a little caveat, but definitely something that you want to consider as you're looking at public schools in general. I think that is it for me. On the last slide, you'll see my contact information, or actually not my contact information, but contact information to visit. And I know that my contact information is at your school. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, not only just about Michigan State, but any large public school close by, far away. I'm happy to help out. And I will.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. I appreciate you. So thank you everyone for being here. I'm from Colorado School of Mines. My name's Sam. I work with specifically international students, but also undergraduate domestic students. So Colorado School of Mines is a very focused institution. And, you know, it was already mentioned by Kelly that some of these STEM schools have a focus on hands-on learning. They have really great technology and great connections to industry. And that's definitely true for Mines as well. And if we want to go ahead and move on to the next slide here, I'll go ahead and continue to expand upon things. So, and we can go ahead and skip past that one too. We'll go ahead and get on to Sense of Place. So when it comes to this hands-on learning stuff, the technology and the connections to industry, I think the sense of place really is important. You know, we're located just outside of Denver. It's an incredible community, but we have incredible industry connections because of the STEM focus of the Denver metro area. Places like Lockheed Martin, Ball, Boeing, a lot of big tech companies, engineering firms have headquarters in Denver, and that allows us to have really great industry connections. Additionally, our location allows us to do awesome hands-on learning stuff. For instance, geophysics majors go out and they characterize a geothermal system in the San Juan Mountains using like remote radar, ground penetrating radar, things like that. So, you know, we wouldn't be able to do that if we didn't have a geothermal system in our backyard to go characterize. So our site and situation allows us to take advantage of some really cool opportunities, you know, both with regard to academics and then also just in terms of hiking, skiing, and then having everything in that Denver metro area. And so we can go ahead and move on here to the next slide too. And, you know, this is a slide that talks a little bit about the demographic layout here. We are kind of more of a medium-sized school, although we are, you know, have such a particular focus. We're a public institution that kind of is borderline, seems like a private institution. A lot of people automatically assume that we're private, but we are a public school. We have about 7,000 students total. We have some really robust graduate programs and PhD programs. but we do we focus our attention mostly on our 5,400 undergraduate students. We have a ton of students from out of state, so if you all want to come out to Colorado and enjoy and bask in the sun and the amazing outdoor stuff, you're definitely more than welcome. And then we also have 80 countries represented as well. So not only people from all over the US, but also all over the world. So it's a great experience that way. And we can go ahead and jump on to the next one. So our medium size allows us to do some really cool things. And one of those things is that we don't have capped majors. So unlike Marquette, where you have to apply to like the nursing program, for instance, right out of high school, at Mines, if you apply and you get accepted, you're free to choose whatever program you desire to study. And we don't actually allow you to declare your major formally until your second year here. So we're the kind of place where we want to see that you have a strong foundation in STEM, and then you can come here and we'll help you kind of figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. But we have very small class sizes, 16:1 student faculty ratio, 34 average class size. And 97% of our classes are taught by faculty. And those faculty members have terminal degrees in their particular field, and they also have great industry connections and experience. So you're going to get to know your professors, you're going to get to know your classmates, and it's all going to result in great networking opportunities whenever you do actually get to go get a job. We also have, 32% female students and 24% underrepresented students there. Oh, that's okay. That's okay, Kate. We can keep going. So yeah, moving on to the academics here, we have 40 different programs. You can go ahead and go on to the next there. Yeah, so we have over 40 different programs, but about 32 of those are going to be different flavors of engineering. So we're proud nerds in the mountains. We do not have any humanities majors. So if you come to Mines, you better know that you want to do something in STEM. You don't have to know exactly what that is, but you have to know that you don't want to be an English major because that's not something that you're going to be able to do here. But it is nice that we have minors in areas of interest that allow you to kind of explore some other areas. Like you could be a music minor and a mechanical engineer here as well. We also do have great research connections, which was also another thing that was mentioned about STEM focused schools. This is a place where you can come in and you can get involved in research right away as a freshman, and you can get either $1,000 stipend or $1,500 stipend to do your own research, which is really cool. We'll go ahead and continue on here. So another big thing about STEM schools is our attention to hands-on learning. And so what you're looking at here are actually courses that our students are required to take. They're all different depending on what major you choose, but every student has to take these signature learning experiences, which are very focused on hands-on learning and collaborative group sort of environment. So STEM is something where most of these big problems that we're trying to solve related to Earth, energy, and environment are not something that can be solved by one particular discipline. So it really takes a collaborative team with all kinds of smart people from different backgrounds to solve the problems that we face. And so that's why we really put our students in hands-on learning, collaborative environments, which is really important to us. We can go ahead and move on here. And we're going to talk about student life. So, we have endless opportunities to connect here. One of the main things I wanted to mention is that we do have D2 sports. So not every small STEM institution will, but it's a pretty awesome thing that we can be a place where you can succeed on the field and you can succeed in the classroom. We also have some really specific clubs that a lot of other places wouldn't have, like for instance, a Formula One SAE racing team and things like a rocketry sort of group and stuff like that. So really STEM specific, awesome opportunities. All right, we can go ahead and continue on here too through applying. So this is a great slide to talk about the type of student that we look for. So generally, students have around a 3.8 unweighted GPA. They have around a 1400 SAT, but we are test optional. So, neither of those are hard cutoffs. If you happen to have a little bit below that, you should still totally apply. We also do holistic review like many of the other schools here. So we try to learn as much as we possibly can about you. A couple areas that are particularly important for us are looking for a student's ability to be innovative and entrepreneurial. So we're looking for students who have maybe started their own businesses or who have done really interesting STEM-related research or internships in high school. These are the type of things that we look for in students. And then academic rigor is obviously extremely important to us. We want to see that you're taking the most rigorous math and science courses available at your institution. And we can go ahead and continue on to the next slide here. So this slide I just brought up because one of the questions is like, so do STEM schools have specific academic requirements? And the answer is yes. So if you look over to the must-haves on the right, we do have specific prerequisites. You must have trigonometry or pre-calculus to be accepted. If you don't have those, you'll be automatically denied. And similarly, you need to have either chemistry or physics, and you need to have done well in them, or you'll be automatically denied. And most students that come to Mines already have above those. They have calculus and they have both physics and chemistry. So those are very, very important to us here at Mines. And then we'll go ahead and move on here. So, for us, Sylvia mentioned that you need to make sure to verify how important these deadlines are. And for us, it's very important that you apply early. We accept around 80% of our incoming class every year from students who apply by the November 1st priority deadline. So you're effectively limiting your opportunity if you wait beyond that. Definitely try to get things in as early as possible and try to actually do the short responses and essays, because that's a great place to express demonstrated interest. St. Olaf mentioned that as well. But for Mines, it's very important. We get about 12,000 or more applications per year, and we can only accept a little under 1,500 incoming freshmen every year. So it really can be the thing that makes or breaks your admissions decision. If you're a great candidate, but you have no demonstrated interest, you can easily lose out your spot to another really qualified candidate who did express a really strong desire to be at Mines. So that's kind of all I really wanted to mention there about dates. And we can go ahead and move on to the financial commitment side of things here. So, we're definitely not a cheap school. And whenever you're considering what you want out of your college experience, I like to tell people that, we're not the easiest or cheapest way for you to go get a college degree. What we are is a very highly curated niche environment that offers a curriculum that's incredibly unique. You won't be able to find anywhere else. We have technology that you won't be able to find anywhere else. Like we have a lab that simulates the surface of the moon. We have a lab where people do controlled explosions. We own our own operating mine, so there's some pretty incredible things here that we offer. If you can afford to make it happen and you can make it through the rigor of the program, you're going to come out in a pretty unparalleled position in terms of getting a job. But it's definitely, just practically speaking, not the easiest or most affordable or accessible option sometimes. And we can go ahead and move forward here. So we do have some merit aid available. We offer up to $14,000 for 4 years of undergraduate education. That renews every year. So that's a pretty good tuition reduction right off the top. And then beyond that, we have a bunch of other scholarships that are competitive that you can apply for through our institution. And then we'll go ahead and move on here to the return on investment slide. So this is a big thing for us. Average starting salary is 79,000. Most majors are well above that, or starting around 80K right out of undergrad. So we really do have a great return on investment, and we do have great connections to industry. That's exemplified by this 1,300 companies actively recruiting. That's more than the number of students that we actually graduate per year. So people are knocking down our door trying to get our graduates. They're aware of that we have a very specific focus, and we only graduate these certain types of students. So that allows us to have very specific, strong connections to our partners in industry. Oftentimes the industry is informing our curriculum. So we will hear what the current state of an engineering field is, and we will adapt our curriculum to reflect that and better prepare students. So, it's a pretty incredible environment to be, and we really hope that you would consider giving us a chance, come and visit us anytime. And I think that about wraps it up for me. The next slide just has my contact information, and please feel free to reach out to me anytime with any questions. And with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to University of College Dublin.
Great. Thank you so much, Sam. My name is Bridie Troy, and I work with University College Dublin. Studying in another country is an amazing possibility, and it's one that has been gaining a lot of increased interest over the years. It's actually very accessible, but I know that it can be a little overwhelming to start the process of looking abroad. So I just want to tell you a little bit more about that. So next slide, there are two ways that you can study overseas. Now, the first way would be the traditional study abroad option. This would be if you were to enroll in a college in the United States and then spend a semester or a year in another country. I'm sure all of you probably know somebody who has studied abroad in this sense. Now, the other option is a little bit less common, but it is becoming a more and more popular and feasible way to get a degree. And this would be to go abroad for your entire degree. So this is the international study that I'm going to be talking to you about today. Going to an international university means that you would spend your entire 3 or 4 years in your host country and you earn a degree from that university. Universities around the world are completely accredited and recognized in the US. And a recent survey actually found that many employers place a large preference on an applicant who has studied abroad more than one who does not have this experience. So if you're concerned about if your degree transfers, it can and it will look very good on your resume. There are so many benefits to studying abroad at an international university. Now, the main benefit, I believe, is that there are no general education requirements when you study outside the US. Instead, there's an increased focus on your major, meaning that you can often get your degree in just 3 years, saving you a lot of time and money. So if you know that you want to be an engineer, that's great. You never have to write another English paper. Likewise, if you want to study English, you don't have to pay for and take a statistics class. Oftentimes, the tuition at an international university can be much lower than the US counterpart, which really helps you to save up money, and then you're more prepared when you get out into the real world. When you do go abroad, you also are going to make contacts and friends from all over the world that will stay with you long after you graduate. I know I have friends in probably 13 different countries, and we still connect on WhatsApp and Facebook. It's really great. And now I'll talk to you a little bit about my university. University College Dublin, or UCD, is Ireland's largest and most international university. We have a long history of welcoming international students, and we offer a plethora of student supports. UCD is a top 1% university with approximately 19,000 undergraduate students, making it the largest university in Ireland. Of these 19,000 students, 30% of them are from outside of Ireland, just like all of you, making it a truly international campus. UCD's main campus offers state-of-the-art learning and living facilities right near the bustling city center and Ireland's major business hubs. UCD is a very modern campus, but it is built on tradition. And what I mean by this is that our buildings, our research institutions, and all of our resources are constantly updated to offer you the best possible learning environment. At the same time, UCD has a really unique and impactful history, wherein the college played a huge role in the establishment of Ireland as a nation, and we have educated over half of Ireland's prime ministers. So it's definitely a cultural icon, both within Ireland and around the world. We are Ireland's most international university, and so we do foster a really great international student support system with a global lounge, on-campus housing, and over 130 clubs and societies. So we have a very large student body with an extensive alumni network and an incredibly tight-knit community that helps you feel at home even when you're across the ocean. We are also internationally accredited, so your degree will travel wherever you go after graduation. Next slide. Great. So UCD does offer guaranteed on-campus housing for our incoming international students. We have rooms for over 4,000 students on campus, each of them in an apartment style setup with their own private bedroom, a shared kitchen and bathroom with maybe 3 or 4 other students, and gyms, laundries, and grocery stores right in your building. Dorms are very much an American concept. So when you go to an international university, you will have your own bedroom when you live on campus. but you'll still get to share a living room and a kitchen with your flatmates. So it's really nice. You get that social aspect of residence living, but at the end of the day, you can close your bedroom door and watch some Netflix by yourself, which for all my introverts out there, it's definitely a very nice prospect. We offer 70 undergraduate courses, including a liberal arts and sciences pathway and professional programs in law, medicine, and veterinary medicine. All of our professional programs are also accredited in the US by the American Bar Association, the American Medical Association, and the American Veterinary Medical Association. So you could come to UCD if you wanted to go into one of these fields. There are two pathways to a degree at UCD. One would be direct entry. This is the kind of one that I was talking to you at the beginning. Many of our programs are direct entry, offering 3-year bachelor's degrees or 4-year combined master's degrees. This means that you can start studying a degree right away without having to take any gen eds, saving you a lot of time and money. However, if you are a bit like I was when I was a senior in high school, you're a little bit undecided and would like some more time to figure out what you want your major to be, that is okay. We do offer a standard liberal arts and sciences pathway that mirrors the standard American 4-year timeline. This would be most similar to an undecided major, and it offers you a lot of flexibility to decide what you want to study. Next slide. Though I strongly believe that everybody should study internationally, short-term or full degree, at least once in their lives, there is a certain type of student who will really succeed at an international university. We're really looking for self-motivated and adventurous people. Studying at an international university requires a lot more independence than it might at a US university where your parents are just, a quick 30-minute drive away, and you have to be really driven to succeed. For example, a large difference between international universities and domestic universities is the grading system. Here in the US, we are used to being graded on homework, participation, attendance, in addition to many tests, quizzes, and projects. When you go to an international university, students are generally graded on their midterm and their final. So those two grades make up your entire letter grade in the class for that semester. And since there really isn't homework, it has to be on the student to be self-motivated enough to tell his friends, no, I can't fly to Greece this weekend, even though we got really cheap tickets. I really should stay home and read this chapter. That being said, the professors are incredibly approachable, and they're often willing to meet with students during office hours and to provide any extra tutoring that you might need. Additionally, your GPA at UCD, that first year, it doesn't count towards your cumulative GPA. So you do have time to get used to this new grading system. There are so many opportunities that are involved at an international school, and you can really thrive there, especially if you take advantage of all the different research, internship, and study abroad opportunities. So applying to UCD is fairly simple. We are on the Common App. We have very transparent entry requirements. You can log right on to ucd.ie/global to see the exact requirements for your chosen major. So you can apply directly at ucd.ie or through the Common application. One thing to note is that when you apply to UCD, you will apply to your specific major. And in this way, we do differ from American institutions. Applications are now open and rolling until the summer. If you are interested in applying to a school in the UK, so that would be in England, in Scotland, Wales, or Northern Ireland, you would apply on something called the UCAS, which is basically the British version of the Common App. So if you're wondering about that, feel free to ask me some more questions later on or ask one of your brilliant counselors. This is also a very academically focused application. I know we heard from a lot of schools today that talked about their holistic application process. We don't read essays. We don't look at extracurriculars. We are really interested in seeing what you have done academically. So this would be your GPA. We would consider test scores if you have them. However, we are test optional for some programs, so you do not need to have an ACT or SAT score for every program. I often hear many people worrying about the price tag of studying abroad, and honestly, it is very price comparable to a US university. Tuition at UCD is between $23,000 and $30,000, depending on the exchange rate and the program, and living expenses are pretty comparable or even less expensive than they might be in Chicago. Additionally, about 90% of our international students do receive a merit-based scholarship from UCD. We do accept the FAFSA, so we accept federal loans, private loans, and any outside scholarships that you might have. Next slide. Great. So here's a few more resources. You can contact me directly with that QR link right there. But if you're interested in studying internationally, there are many different ways to learn more. So there are country level organizations that focus on recruiting international students to come to their country. So depending on what country you're looking at, you can find some more resources listed here. In-country representatives such as myself, we'd love to work with you and answer any questions that you might have. You can go to the website provided there, aerna.org, and you can find a representative from schools in any number of different countries, and they will definitely help you figure out how to make your dream a reality. So yeah, if you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. And yeah, thank you so much. I will move it over to Lily.
Thank you so much. I am really excited to be here. My name is Lily Zenger. I am the Senior Assistant Director of Admission from Savannah College of Art and Design. So I'm really excited to share with you guys a little bit more information about what makes SCAD special, but also some more broad information that helps you understand a little bit more about the art and design world and how you'd be applying to a particular art and design school. Let me see. Open my PowerPoint up, share my screen, and we're going to get started. So a little bit about me. So my background, I actually went to a liberal arts school, or medium-sized university. I went to DePaul University for art history, or history of art and architecture, with a minor in museum studies and French. So my background was in the arts, but not necessarily in the creative aspect of that. I did a lot more writing and a lot more working with the arts than necessarily hands-on art and design, but SCAD is definitely very, very hands-on. We are a design university located in Savannah and Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm thankfully a regional rep, so I'm able to help you here in Chicago. But if you have any interests that go into other areas of art and design, I have, since being part of SCAD for a long time, a lot of knowledge in different areas. So SCAD is the University of Creative Careers. We have over 100 different degree programs that we offer through SCAD. Here is a list of a bunch of the programs that we have, and you'll notice that in addition to the more traditional art and design programs like painting or photography, we also have expanded well into a lot more specifically unique programs to SCAD, but very intentional programs that help students really have an edge when they graduate. So some examples of that, we have immersive reality, we have game design, we have the business of beauty and fragrance. So definitely explore our website and check out each individual program page if you're interested in learning a little bit more. But I have some images that go along with some of our really interesting majors. We have industrial design. We also have architecture and interior design, some really fantastic programs in the School of Building Arts. We also have film and television. We recently created a brand new backlot in Savannah, Georgia. It is a multi-acre backlot that includes several different types of sets and also our new XR screen. So that allows students to use this multimedia device and screen to create their own student projects. We also have animation. That's one of our most popular programs at SCAD. So 3D animation. We've got also illustration that goes kind of hand in hand with a lot of character design. So if you're interested in the animation world, definitely take a look at SCAD. We have those traditional programs. In fact, we have a whole school of foundation studies to help you really prepare well for your major curriculum. So you're taking drawing classes, painting classes, color theory, but we also have a painting major that is outstanding, and also photography, sculpture, and a bunch of other types. We also have fashion. So if you're interested in becoming the next famous designer, I would highly encourage you to check out SCAD Atlanta or SCAD Savannah to kind of see what that program looks like. So I mentioned a couple of different locations. We actually are located in 2 different cities in the US. We're going to be in Atlanta, and we're also in Savannah. Our Atlanta campus has about 5,000 to 7,000 students at a time, and our Savannah campus has about 10,000 to 11,000 students at a time. This changes definitely quarter to quarter because we have so much flexibility with our campuses. You can study at any location, any quarter. You don't have to go through a super in-depth transfer process. You get to sort of select your campus based on the timing of, maybe an internship that you have or a particular class that's being offered by a professor that you really like on that campus. As long as you have housing confirmed on one or the other, because you can't study in Savannah at the same time as you do in Atlanta, they're about a 4-hour drive apart, which would be a very long commute. You're pretty much set. But we also have another campus in the south of France. This is a great opportunity for students who want to study abroad, as well as an online campus, which offers an additional level of flexibility for students who might get an internship opportunity out of state. So they get to still take their classes online. We have a really robust online campus that allows students to continue on their curriculum while taking advantage of any opportunities that come their way. So that's a little bit about each of our campus locations. They're all fantastic. I would highly recommend visiting, Atlanta, Savannah, Lacoste if you're in France in the area. And then we also do our virtual info session every Wednesday at 4:30 Eastern time if you're interested in learning about our online campus as well. So a little bit about our campus when it comes to the people on campus, because that's really what makes the biggest impact, especially on our campuses in Atlanta and Savannah. We've got about 17,500 plus students from all 50 states and over 100 different countries. We are extremely collaborative in that we want our students to be creating projects together so that they get to learn how to work alongside each other in different disciplines, so that when you are graduated and you're working on these creative projects in your professional career, you already have a wealth of knowledge and information about how to collaborate across different disciplines. And it's really important to work with students from different interests, especially if you're, for example, interested in working in the film industry. You're going to be working with writers, you're going to be working with producers, you're going to be working with casting directors, production designers, special effects crew. So being able to work with students who are actually interested in doing that in the future not only allows you to get some preparation in how to navigate those conversations and collaborations, but you also get to make professional contacts while you're still in college. So you're working with students who you might work with later in life, in your professional life, on different projects. So that's a little bit about our campus. We're also a very diverse campus, especially in Atlanta. I would say if you're looking for a super diverse experience as a student, we are located in Midtown Atlanta, and we are so close to such a major airport that we get a ton of international students who are interested in studying at the Atlanta campus. But Savannah also is a very diverse campus and has a really wide range of students who come from all over the country and all over the world. We also have athletics. So if you're interested in playing a sport competitively as a student at SCAD, you don't see that often, an art and design school that also has competitive athletics. Definitely check SCAD out. We have several different competitive teams. Lacrosse is one of them, but we also have soccer, we have esports, we have an equestrian team. So it's a pretty wide range of types of athletics that you can look into, but we also have intramural sports and fun extracurricular activities that you can do to stay active. As for the resources that you have on campus, SCAD definitely sets itself apart in the type of materials you have access to in the creative fields that you're going into. We have Wacom tablets and styluses available for animation students. In addition to that, we have rendering farms that allow students to render a little bit more quickly. And then immersive reality technology. We have 3D printing labs, anything that you need to create your projects in your classes. If it comes down to a certain type of technology, it will be provided to you, and we keep that industry standard. So that means whatever is new or exciting, being used in the field that you're in, we will have access to that type of technology as you're a student. So for another aspect of SCAD that I think really speaks highly of our curriculum and the type of energy that we have on campus is our alumni. So we have alum that go on to work for all of these major companies and more. You can see some more alumni highlights on our website, so definitely check that out. Or if you're interested and you want to chat a little bit more about some specific alumni stories, I always love talking about our alums. There are several who live here in Chicago or in Milwaukee, so it's nice to have that kind of close connection to other alums from SCAD in your area. But we have an incredible number of alums who go on to work for large-scale companies or creating their own companies, freelance, work on, in the movies, work in fashion. So whether it is, photography or film and television or sculptural work or industrial design, we can connect you to an alum who has succeeded and really done some exciting things in their field through our alumni, Career and Alumni Success Department. We also have a very high alumni employment rate, so 99% of our students within 10 months of graduation are either employed or seeking further education. We at SCAD do not believe in starving artists. We want you to feel marketable and ready to go into your professional life as soon as you graduate. So we have a lot of different resources in place to help you with that. Obviously, going into the arts and into the design field can sometimes feel intimidating to students or to parents, but truly, if you're interested in going into a creative field, there's no better place to go than an art and design school, whether that be SCAD or another school closer to home or a school in California or New York. Going to a school that has the types of resources and connections that your student needs really, really makes a difference. I can speak from experience on that. I think that I really loved my experience in a liberal arts college, but having fallen in love with the art and design field, I truly think going to a school that connects you to the types of resources and people and networking opportunities that allow you to thrive in your professional world makes all the difference in the world. So a little bit about our resources that we offer at SCAD for career options is going to be a couple of things within our curriculum, but also resources that are outside of our classwork. So business classes are required across the board on every major at SCAD. So you'll have to take at least one business class, whether you are a painting student or a business of beauty and fragrance student. Obviously, the business of beauty and fragrance students will take more, but it is also important to have some business acumen as a painter or as a standalone artist as well. We also require internships, either through the form of our SCAD Pro in-house internship program or through any outside resources. So you can use our Career and Alumni Success Department or your career advisor to find a different opportunity to intern. Our professors are also super knowledgeable. They all are currently working in the fields that they teach about, so they have some great connections to help students better get in touch with opportunities for internships. We also have a resource called SCAD AMP, which helps coach students before interviews or presentations. It also can help examine slide decks if they have a big presentation coming up, and help them feel more comfortable in the professional world if they're nervous or if they feel a little self-conscious. So it's a resource that's available throughout their time at SCAD, but also post-grad, and you also get an advisor after you graduate who helps you navigate your post-grad experience as well. So I'm going to talk a little bit more specifically about SCAD's application process, but I'm also going to open it up to talk a little bit about the portfolio or audition process that you should know about as a student, especially as an underclassman or a junior starting this process now. So the first step for SCAD is applying. We do have an application on our website that is open for fall of 2025 as well as fall of 2024. We are on rolling admission, so you can apply whenever you're ready. I am your point person for any questions you have about the application itself or any next steps. But after you apply, you get to connect with your admission advisor on campus. So that person helps you throughout the rest of the process, talks to you about housing deadlines, talks to you about scholarship information. They'll be the one to send you your decision, send you your financial package. So it's a real person on campus that helps you throughout the process as opposed to just sort of via email. Planning ahead is important, thinking about what you might want to do next. A lot of students want to go a graduate degree route. We have a grad path option that allows you to get your master's and bachelor's of fine arts within 4 years or an MFA and BFA in 5. So that's always something to look into and think ahead about. But lastly, definitely visiting is important, getting a sense of, can I see myself here? Do I really like this environment? Do I like the people who are here? Do I, am I excited about being here? It's always really important to get that sense. So visiting campus. We have tours twice a day, every day except for Sundays, and then we also have SCAD days that happen throughout the year that allow more of an integration of our professors and current students to help host guests. So it's our open house, and we have activities for other things. So for the application process, with other schools, sometimes it is required to have both a portfolio and your application at the same time. That isn't the case for SCAD, but if it is the case for other schools that you're looking into, right now you have the benefit of time. So it's important to start pulling together materials that you think are representative of your strengths so that you have a lot of materials to work with when you start to put your portfolio together. If it's a visual arts portfolio, many schools like to see gesture work. So that might be sketchbook pieces of hands or facial features or models. They might want to see life drawing. So it might be drawing models who are in a sort of in the round sensibility that you're doing life drawing from real life. So you're drawing what you see. Might be still life work as well. But for SCAD, what we want to see are finished pieces only and not process work. Our portfolio is not something that goes in hand with the decision process. It's something we use for scholarship. So we do not need your portfolio in conjunction with the application. It's something that comes much later, but other colleges will require those together, and other colleges also might require them to get into a certain program. So there are schools that have a cap on the number of students that they can allow into a specific degree program. In that case, you may have to prove your skills and show a portfolio that is going to allow you into that specific program. The same might apply for an audition if you're doing a music program or if you're doing a drama program or an acting program. So keep that in mind when you're a junior, to start using whatever resources you have access to. Obviously your wonderful guidance office, but your mentors, if you have teachers that you have a good relationship with that you want additional feedback on when it comes to materials, or anyone who you think is really helpful in deciding what your strengths are, can really help you start to pull those things together now, so that by the time you reach the fall of next year, you have a wealth of options. So that's a little bit about the application process or portfolio process. The other advice that I would love to give is that college representatives are truly the best source of knowledge when it comes to specifics. So when you're looking into a portfolio and the requirements that are going along with that portfolio, getting in touch with your regional representative is the best way to go about it, so that you know exactly what's required, you know exactly when the deadline is, you know exactly what you need to put with it. So I would be able to tell you what we're looking for within portfolios when it comes to the scholarship element of portfolios, what you need for your application, and then also what the timeline is. So getting in touch with your representative so that you can have the most amount of information and organize that, so that when you're applying to different art schools, you do not submit a portfolio that's to the preferences of a different school. We see that a lot on our end, so it's really good to connect with your regional representative so you have that information on hand. The last thing I want to mention is that we are also test optional, so you do not need to submit your test scores if you don't want to, and we don't require an essay either. But please feel free to ask more questions. I was really excited to be here. You can connect with me whenever. My email inbox is always open, and I also do Zoom meetings with students. I'm nearby, so it's always nice to have a conversation with students who are close to home as well. But feel free to ask any questions that you'd like. You can use my contact information. Thank you again, and I'm going to pass it back to your wonderful guidance counselors and take it from here.
Thanks so much, Lily, and thank you to all of our panelists. I think all of these colleges sound so amazing, and I think that's one of the reasons why I love what I do, because I'm just so excited for our students to have so many different paths to explore. And so what I just want to do, I want to be respectful of all of your time, is just, I'm going to just ask one question and then another one. But for our juniors, what could they be doing right now to help them figure out what type of college, of these types of colleges, could be the right fit for them?
I can chime in on this question if I may. Roy again from St. Olaf. I feel like students in the Chicagoland area are so lucky because there are so many of these types of institutions within your backyard. Some of them accessible by the public transportation, some of them a 20 to 50-minute drive away. So especially junior year, I think it's important to get on campus on some of these different types of places in the Chicagoland area. And then I would say junior summer and senior fall, when you can maybe go and visit some places that you're interested in, you have a more developed understanding of the type of institution that fits best for you. So utilize your geography that you have at DePaul.
I'd love to add to that as well. Something I think students who have a lot of time to work with should really make use of is going out there and going after certain leadership positions in your community. That looks amazing on a resume. And if you start to show and demonstrate that you're capable of taking on additional responsibilities on top of your curriculum and workload as a high school student, it really reflects positively on you. And it looks impressive to us as well.
And I always say, junior year, especially, spring of junior year, it's a great time to start thinking about what is important to you. And students, I mean you, not what is important to your friends or your significant other. What is going to be most important in those factors for college search? That's going to help you to be successful at that institution, because at the end of the day, you are going there and you're going to be taking the classes and getting involved and hopefully having a great experience. So you want to make sure you're really thinking about, again, what is going to be important to you? Is it, the size of the school, the type of school, the majors, the opportunities outside of the classroom, the distance from home? Again, all of that can kind of play into your decision, but definitely think about what is important to you as a student.
You also have a college fair coming up at your school, and the college fair is such a good way to explore all different types of schools. So I really encourage you at that fair, don't just go to schools that you have heard the name before. Really explore all different types of schools that maybe you've never even heard of them before. You might have your eyes open to, oh, I didn't realize that those types of characteristics would really resonate with me and what I think I might be looking for. So really make sure to utilize that college fair to your advantage.
Great. Yeah. I would say now is definitely the time to start narrowing down the colleges that you're looking at. Come next fall, you're going to start applying to colleges, and mom and dad are not going to want to pay $50 application fees for, there's over 20,000 colleges in the world. So I'm a big believer in spreadsheets. I think that would be my biggest tip right now. Start a spreadsheet, start including the colleges you're interested in. What features are most important to you, just to make sure that you can kind of get a handle on this big decision coming up.
Thanks. Thank you. And that's a plug for us. Like, each of our students has gotten a Google Sheet where they can keep track of their colleges, take notes about fit. So thank you for kind of
Love that.
putting that in their brains. And then my next question for you is, I think Sam, you actually mentioned this when you were talking, is that your college likes to see students who kind of pursue their interests or passions. And how can juniors go about that, kind of just outside of their coursework in high school?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say just trying to, search it out on your own. I know you all probably have resources for them available as well. But for us, it's a lot of things like robotics is a really, really big one. Different types of research opportunities or internships with particular organizations. Those are the types of things that really stand out to us as a STEM focused school. So in terms of providing them an actual avenue to find specific things, I don't know that I have too much great to offer in that regard, but I would say that there are a ton of opportunities out there, and you really just need to try and Google search, research, and try to find some things that would look good to a prestigious engineering institution like us.
I think kind of what Silvio was alluding to, even with trying to find, what type of school is going to be the best fit for you. I think the same thing is true when it comes to your activities and all of that. Make sure that you're just doing things that are super authentic to who you are as an individual. I think things, I don't love seeing students that just have 15 clubs and organizations because they just wanted to have it look good. I would rather see a student who maybe is really interested in one thing, and that's okay, but they've taken on a lot of great leadership in those areas. As an example, I'm reading for our doctorate of physical therapy accelerated program right now. It's a really competitive program for us. And so seeing students that have really done their due diligence to try and have internships or shadowing experiences with PT clinics around the area, or they've joined their health occupations club at school or whatever it might be, those are really great things that show me, well, I'm really interested in this. I'm really excited about this specific thing. And just again, again, just do whatever's super authentic to you. Don't feel like you need to do anything that is just because you think a college wants to see this or wants to see that. The right school for you is going to see whatever is authentic to you on your application and think that's a really good fit for our school.
We also understand the need for some students who have family responsibilities or work experience as well. So please know that it doesn't necessarily have to be an activity through school or at school, and every institution's different. So I am speaking in general terms, but I know at least for me, I just want to see what else are you doing aside from going to school. So if you have family responsibilities or if you work part-time that takes up a lot of your time, make sure you put that on your application because most of us do consider that. And then I will also add junior summer is a great summertime activity to also look at what colleges and universities might be offering summer camps to maybe explore different areas of study, explore that college campus or that type of school. Some colleges and universities even offer free summer camps, so you don't even have to pay to go there for like a week or two. So definitely look into those summer opportunities on college campuses.
Fantastic. And so, I'm going to end with a few reminders for our families, but I just wanted to say thank you to each of you for taking the time to speak with our juniors and their families. You provided great information on not only about the specific types of college in general, but about each of your own institutions. And we're just really fortunate that you took the time to help us out. So thank you so much. And for juniors and our families, just a few quick reminders. If you have not scheduled your junior college planning meeting yet, please reach out to either myself or Ms. Koschel or Mr. Menestra to schedule that meeting with you and your family. Our next pre-recorded Pews recording will be released on February 13th, where Mr. Menestra will lead a presentation on the college athletic recruiting process. And as Rosa already mentioned, we would just want to make sure that our college fair is in your calendar. It's scheduled for Monday, March 11th here on campus from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. So thank you for taking the time to watch, and thank you to our panelists. We really, truly appreciate you. Bye.